You're listening to the Fear in the Southwest podcast.
Hey, this is Drew, Fear in the Southwest podcast.
Hi, and I'm Stephanie.
Welcome to Season 3, Episode 2, Arizona Urban Legends.
Ooh.
That's right, this season's heating up. Let's get started. What do you got, Steph?
All right, so I got an urban legend. It's actually not that far from where we are, so.
Where are we going?
So we're going to Ajo, Arizona.
Ajo, Arizona.
Yeah.
Not Ajo, Ajo.
Ajo, yes. So let's go back to 1950s, all right?
Ooh, the roaring 50s. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the 60s.
It's the 20s.
I knew that.
What? This is supposed to be.
How come 2020 isn't roaring?
So let's go back to your story in Ajo, Arizona.
Okay, so this legend, like I said, takes place in the 1950s.
The 50s.
50s. And so, there was this newlywed couple. They had planned a honeymoon, and some legends say they were planning to go to Lake Tahoe. Other places say they were looking to go to California, so not sure of their destination, but it was their honeymoon. Okay? So they pack up, they get in their car, and they're driving. They're driving down the highway. Okay? So this is about, I think it's Route 85. And so this couple's driving, and they hit a boulder.
Wait, what?
They hit a boulder.
A boulder in Arizona.
There's tons of boulders in Arizona. There's tons of rocks, hills. So I guess where they were going through these hills, and a boulder, they just crashed into it. And so their bodies were discovered the next day. So, this couple had left in the middle of the night or in the early mornings. It was definitely while it was still dark. And so they crashed, They crashed. Both of them were pronounced dead.
That's sad.
Till this day, some people say that as they're driving down this highway, they see an abandoned car that's crashed into something. When they turn around, the car has disappeared.
Wait, like gone?
They're gone. So, they see a car. It looks like something tragic's happened. They stop to see what's happened, and it's gone. They don't see it anymore. Some people have turned around to see if the car is still there, and then they can't find it. Other people have said that they've seen a couple, especially a woman, trying to flag someone down for help. But once again, they stop. There's no woman there. There's no vehicle. So that's one of the urban legends that I've heard from.
Now, would that be like, what do you think that is? Like a residual energy? Like kind of haunting because it's just residual? Or is it
Could be.
active? Or
Who knows?
That's
Ajo's a
creepy.
pretty heavy area for different urban legends, different
There's a lot of urban legends all throughout
haunts
Arizona.
and UFO sightings, different things like that. So.
Yeah, speaking of UFO sightings, check out our episode, Season 2, Episode 1, The Phoenix Lights. It's one of the biggest in the nation.
Yeah.
Check it out if you haven't heard that episode. We talk a lot about UFOs. So, honeymoon couple dies at the side of the road, still makes her presence known today.
Yep.
It's kind of creepy.
That is kind of creepy.
What would you do if you saw that driving by?
I don't know. I've heard of other people, talking about apparitions they've seen on the side of the road. I was reading about this, a while ago about this one woman. She was, a passenger in the car. Her husband was driving, and all of a sudden she started yelling at him to stop because this man just ran in the road. And so he stops, and he's like, "Why'd you make me stop? What happened?" And she's like, "Well, that man, you were going to hit him." And he was like, "What man?" And she was like, "You were going to hit this man. This man was on the side of the road and just ran in front of our car." And he's like, "No, there wasn't. You just kept yelling at me to stop." And she said she looked around. He had stopped. And this was in the middle of the day.
In the middle of the day?
In the middle of the day. And she saw this. And so You know, people see things all the time on the side of the road, and you hear about, you know,
Roadside haunts.
yeah, especially near cemeteries, different things like that.
Hitchhiking ghosts.
Mm-hmm. Hitchhiking ghosts. You know, hitchhikers, you know, especially at night, they get hit. Some people are trying to flag someone down for help.
Some don't even know they're dead and they're looking for help.
Yep. And like stuck between two worlds trying to flag down somebody.
That's sad. Creepy.
It is creepy. Can you imagine that? Seeing something and
Just
scares
driving.
you to death and no one else saw it but you?
That would be terrifying. And you start questioning your own sanity.
Exactly.
Like, am I sleepy? Did I just illusion? Like, was that all imaginative?
Mm-hmm. Especially with road trips, you know, we doze off now and get, again, if it's hot while
Huh.
we're traveling.
It's Arizona. It's always hot.
It's always hot, but yeah, can you imagine that? Like, thinking you're going to hit someone to realize that there's nothing there, there's nobody there.
That's creepy.
That is
Or to
creepy.
see like a car look like it got smashed and turn around and look gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had the world's best AAA service.
Right?
1 minute there, next minute gone.
Yeah.
I want that time in service.
Seriously.
How much does that cost? Well, roadside haunts and ghost. Yeah, I don't think I've actually ever seen any. I've heard quite a few in Arizona.
Yeah.
Have you witnessed any?
Not personally, but one of my best friends, she lives in Wilcox, Arizona now, but for a
That's
while
awesome.
she used to live in Benson, and one time she was recording the highway that she was driving on because it was raining so hard. She was recording what she was battling, what she was driving through. And I swear halfway through her recording, it looked like this apparition just went across the road, and I messaged her. I was like, hey, go to like this part of your video and tell me what you see. And right away she was like, holy crap. She didn't even notice that. It was just caught on the film, so we don't know if it was like...
What was she filming?
She was just filming herself driving, showing me what she was going through because it was such a heavy rain. This is when like camera phones and camera videos first became big.
No kidding.
Yeah, and she had just sent it to me just to show me like, look how bad it's raining over here, and you could see water like climbing onto
Still
the side of
get
the
that
road.
video?
I don't. That video, oof, I think this was back in like 2007,
Oh wow,
2006.
that's creepy.
Yeah, but I remember.
They do say storms bring out a lot of
Yeah.
energy.
But it was weird. It was like this white apparition that just went on the side of the road, kind of stopped midway, and then continued. It was very interesting. And, like, she didn't even see it. And so it wasn't until I was like, hey, did you see the video you sent me? That was freaking creepy. And she was like, what, the rain? She was like, it was heavy. I was like, no, that thing that was going
rain was
across
creepy.
it. And she was like, what? So I told her, and she re-looked at it. And then
Have
she
you ever
was
driven
like,
in the creepy rain?
holy crap, that is creepy. So, I haven't seen it personally, but I did see that video. And you hear about all these accounts all the time. People see something, they stop, and then there's nothing there. Something spooks them.
I had kind of a roadside ghost.
Yeah.
Wasn't really, well, I mean, I was young, so I was in school, still in school days. I used to walk, like a block to my bus stop. And you know where we're at.
Yeah.
There's that, like an old abandoned bar, now it's like boarded up shack. At the time it wasn't really boarded up, like I've been in that. It's a very old creepy house, shack, whatever you want to call it. But I remember, like, there used to be a big tree that'd sit in front of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And this shadow figure of a guy would come out and like lean against a tree and stare at me from across the street.
Ooh.
I'd be at the bus stop and this thing would be staring at me. Freaked me out because I always had to cross the street to get on the bus because
Mhm.
it came from the other way. So I always like kind of looked behind me as I was going because he was usually there almost the whole time I was at the bus stop. It was really freaky. And some days he wasn't there and some days he was. And then it got to the point it was so normal I was just like, whatever, dude.
That's really creepy.
Well, if you went in that shack, I mean, it was like a creepy little shack.
What was in there?
Bumper stickers all over cabinets, like from like the early 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Looked like body bags in the backyard.
Ew.
Don't know if they're body bags, but looked like it. It was really weird. Black bags with like zippers. Yeah, it was creepy. But yeah, that thing would stare at me all the time. It got to be just like the norm. At first, it was really fucking weird. And like, people thought it was weird. So I was like, did you guys see that guy? What guy?
When's the last time you saw it, you think? If you could.
Well, thank God I started driving. They took that tree down.
Mm-hmm.
They boarded up the house. I haven't seen it since, really. I'm not standing over there for no reason anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go hang out at my old bus stop, guys.
That is really creepy, though.
It was always weird. It just, first time I saw it, I was like, who the heck is staring at me? What does he want?
Yeah,
My
shadow
homework?
figures are always scary. They always catch you off guard, too. Like, you don't know if it's your eyes, but I bet seeing it every single day, that's gotta be...
You know, I think there was one other student that saw it.
Yeah? That's creepy.
That's creepy. You know what else is creepy? Let's go to Kingman, Arizona.
Alright. Ooh, Kingman.
Yep. Let's go back to Kingman. Do you know what canyon I'm talking about?
I think I do.
What is it?
Is it Luana's Canyon? Or Slaughterhouse Canyon?
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't been there personally, but I know I've heard some stories about it.
Yeah. This story has a lot in common with La Llorona,
Ew, okay.
with the theme. Because every state, every place, every county has its own urban legends. And a lot of times they're derivative of other urban legends.
Yeah, they have their own La Llorona.
Yeah. Put that on a t-shirt. My city has our own La Llorona. What? Yeah, that's probably the reaction you'll get. So we're going to go back.
Okay.
Mining days. Husband, wife, family. Husband would leave for 2 weeks at a time, go mine, work, come back, clothes, food, necessities. Well, it's a very spooky, scary story. It's one time he goes to work, doesn't come home.
Oh, wow.
Uh-oh. Nobody knows what happened. He just didn't come home. Whether he died in a mine, maybe he died in a saloon, maybe he died in a fight, maybe he got murdered for his gold. Nobody knows what happened to him. What people do know is what happened to the family afterwards. So obviously, with him not coming home, they didn't eat. They didn't get the necessities, so they started starving. What does starvation do? You go manic, you go crazy. Delusional. And it's hot. Mind you, their shack was in a canyon.
Ew.
Yeah. For all you all don't know, living in a canyon, beautiful view, terrible weather.
Yeah, you get a little of everything.
Hot, windy, cold, echoey, because, you want to live by a canyon, you're going to hear yourself. Yeah. So she eventually went like crazy. No eating. The kids are freaking out. They're starving. So what does she do? Do you want to know what she does? She takes the kids down to the river and slaughters them. And throws the parts into the river.
Like she chops them up?
Chops them up. And there's one part of that story where she does it in her wedding dress. Because, if that ain't morbid enough. Yeah, like...
Tribute to her husband.
I miss my husband. He's disappeared, so I'm going to kill our kids.
It's
in her wedding
terrible.
dress. That sounds pretty fucked up.
That does sound terrible. What I've heard about this canyon is that people who've gone out, exploring it, I guess that shack, the home that you're talking about, I guess it was like a shack, and it was there for years. It just got torn down not that long ago, and there's still houses in that area.
Imagine having neighbors. Achoo, bless you. Achoo, achoo, achoo.
But, people, have reported, hearing screaming sounds and wailing, children screaming.
Well, that's got to be eerie from a canyon, too.
Yeah.
Ooh, goosebumps. Just you in the wilderness and the canyon, and you hear that. You might get chills down your spine and hear what sounds like wailing kids getting slaughtered.
Oh, that's creepy.
With an echo.
That's terrible.
It is terrible.
You hear a lot of stories about that. I heard of this one family where, once again, you know, the husband's the breadwinner. He go off to do jobs, get the necessities, like you said, bring money, clothes, food back. And, you know, one day the husband came back, and I guess he was gone a little later than expected, like maybe like 3 weeks or so. And when he came back to like this wonderful stew, like this great meal, and he's eating it, and he's saying that like it's the best stew he's ever had, and it's so good. And after he ate, you know, she asked him if he wanted more, and he's like, no, I'm going to save it for the children. Have the children eaten yet? And that's when she let him know that that's what he ate, was their children. And this woman was actually, like, committed. She was committed to a psychiatric ward because she had slaughtered their children. And she made them into a stew. Husband eats them unknowingly that's his children. It wasn't until he was like, no, I haven't heard them, haven't seen them. I don't want to eat everything. I want to make sure they've been fed. But little did he know they've been eaten. So
they were feeding you. That's disgusting.
That's a disturbing story.
That is really disturbing. Oh. I got chills thinking about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's gross. That's sick. Like, who could do that to a kid?
You know.
Slaughter them, eat them, make them into a stew. Stew takes some work.
Cannibalism took place here in the United States.
Really?
People were getting very established. They weren't used to the harsh winters. They didn't realize how famished they would be. So what do? They eat each other.
Seems logical, not.
Cannibalism has terrible effects on the brain.
Like?
Gives like an Alzheimer's-like effect. Causes aggression, deterioration of the brain, muscle spasms, seizures.
Why does that happen?
It's just the way the way the body's made up and eating the same protein. So it's kind of like mad cow disease. You know what mad cow disease is, right?
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, mad cow disease, started because what's happening is they're getting particles of beef. So the beef was eating beef, and so once again had that cannibalism effect on the brain.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
I just recently saw a movie about that. It's pretty graphic.
Oh, about cannibalism?
Yeah.
Oh, I know what movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was disturbing.
Yeah.
That one
shakes you to the core.
That one was actually based on a true story.
Was it?
Yeah, it was based on a true story. I don't know if the area is like Virginia, or I know it's somewhere in the South, right? So,
what movie was it?
I don't remember what it was called off the top of my head. But anyways, this family, a bunch of, they ran like an RV park, and people would pay rent and stuff to, park their RV to live there for a little bit. And sometimes people would go missing. People who traveled through there would go missing. So there was all these like missing people posters. And what this family would do is every couple months they would fast. They wouldn't eat. They would choose a victim. They would keep them in the cellar of their home. And then they would sacrifice them, and then they would make a meal of them. And their children would consume this meal without knowing that they were eating people.
Oh my God.
And so this is what the movie was. But the original story comes from a family that did something similar. They would kidnap people, hitchhikers, young couples. They'd go to the bars together and pick up people. And the children witnessed them, like, bringing people to their home and never seeing those people leave. And so what happens is he had, like, this cellar, like a dungeon, where he would keep these people, because it was mainly the husband that wanted to do this type of stuff. And so what he would do is he would ritually sacrifice these people. They would consume them. They would take their money, their jewelry. They would take different things. And it wasn't until like a cop noticed that one of the rings the woman was wearing was actually one of the rings one of their missing victims had on. So that was a huge clue right there that something was not right with this family. And this man went mad. The husband went completely crazy. So it said that, once again, the cannibalism effect took over him. Some people said he was satanic. But this was something him and his wife would do. They would go pick up a couple, pick up people, vulnerable girls, and they would kidnap them. And they did this while their children slept in their home. And the children, they're now like in their 40s, early 50s. They've talked about how they would see mom and dad bring people home, and those people never left.
That's creepy.
They'd always have new clothes, new jewelry. They didn't know where it came from. They always had money. I think they even found like the missing IDs and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
That's creepy.
That is creepy. Never
Wow,
know.
we jumped from urban legends to cannibalism. Wow. Well, there you guys go. That's, that happens everywhere, I guess, in urban legend stories, places. Because, that's not the only story.
Yeah, a lot of our movies, a lot of our scary stories, they all have some origin. A lot of them are thought up, but a lot of them are a mix of different stories. It's just kind of interesting.
You know what else is interesting? All these ghost stories. Stay tuned for more season 3, and you'll find out what other kind of ghost stories I'm talking about. I think that's enough for this episode. That was a pretty heavy ender.
Yeah, that was. Kind of creeped myself out.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to drive later.
Safely.
Don't stop for anything.
Yeah. Don't look back.
I know. All right, so that does it for tonight. Thanks for listening, you guys.
Yeah, thank you for listening.
So check out our Facebook page at Fear in the Southwest Podcast, or you can also check us out on Anchor.
And stay tuned for season 3, episode
3.
All
All right, see you guys soon.
Have a good one. Stay creepy.